It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tyrone Lowe. The show is called The Legends. I want to thank everybody all over the world that actually subscribes to my show and show me love. In the house of the legends, we have somebody that's actually, well, she's a house diva. She sings. I'm sure that some of you guys have actually conquered and played some of her tracks or listened to them. But she also has a book out. It's called Mama Bear's Beautiful Blended. And she's here to actually talk about it. And we're going to collaborate on it. And I want you guys to go out there and support her on it. So in the house, we have Julia McKnight. What's going on, Julia?
Hello, my friend. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Okay. And you're way in the UK, and that's cool. You know
I
what I'm
am.
saying? So, hey, across the waters, across the waters.
I stayed
So,
up just for you, brother.
all right. And that's nice. I really like that. I'm so flattered. So, we're going to talk about you a little bit because I know that you're a house music diva and you really laid down some house music, really laid it down. And I'm a house music DJ, so I know all
Yes.
about you. Okay. But we're going to talk about this wonderful book with
Oh,
which is actually have a touchy situation to it because
right.
it's very inspiring for people that have rare different types of relationships with people that had multi relationships. So we're going to talk about that. And the book is called Mama Bear Beautiful Blended. So let's talk about this book and how you actually got started with it.
Well, it was a blessing, first of all, to have the experiences that I had. From my first marriage, I had my two sons. Um, as a result of other relationships that their dad had, I was blessed with two beautiful daughters, love daughters, and I became really, really close to their moms and, our little community as sister moms. They have literally helped me with raising my sons. We have built a community. Their daughters are my daughters, my sons are their sons. I trust them completely with the well-being of my children. I say children. My sons are 35 and 32, but
Right.
their daughters, and these are two separate moms. Their
Okay.
daughters are 21 and our baby girl is 16, and what we share is the same dad that fathered them. And
Right.
oftentimes the moms don't want to connect.
Right.
I had a second marriage where he came into our tribe with 8 babies of his own.
Wow. Okay.
And I loved every one of them. And he and I would laugh sometimes. We'd have, when it was his weekend with the kids, we would try to make sure that they were all together. We were all there in North Carolina together. And it wasn't a difficulty, it was just a different situation. And I respect those moms so much as well, because then here I come expecting them to have the same type of relationship with me that my other sister moms had, but
Right.
they didn't share a father with me. You know what
Oh,
I
okay.
mean?
Right. Right.
They're looking at me like, yeah, you his wife, and that's cool, but
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have that same connection. And
Mm-hmm.
that taught me a whole different lesson where I had to respect though that set of mamas
Right.
and the relationship that my husband had with them,
Right.
and
Right.
not overstep that, not try to enforce the fact that now I'm his wife. No, me being his wife is a separate position,
Right.
as long
Exactly.
as they weren't disrespecting him
Right.
as the head of my household, as
Okay.
our household, or disrespecting me.
Mm-hmm.
I knew to step out of how they handled the relationship and
Right.
the co-parenting that they did. But my biggest goal, which is the point of Mama Bear Beautifully Blended, is
Mm-hmm.
the kids and the siblings are the bottom line. The
Okay.
parents can fall out all day long, but there needs to be a foundation
Right.
that's built
Definitely.
with the children, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the legacy that their family, this is their blood. And I mean, I love the relationship that my sons have with their sisters.
Right.
And when we're gone and the parents are gone and all the mess they may have dealt with,
Right. Right.
there needs to be a bond with the kids. So now they're
Okay.
aunties and they're uncles and they're this and they're that. And I had learned so many lessons. I mean, my
Mm-hmm.
second marriage, there was a young, she was only like maybe close to a year,
Right.
and I had to respect that mom was uncomfortable with
Right.
sending her daughter. She didn't know me.
Mm-hmm.
Is she going to treat my child right? I knew
Right.
that I
Right.
would. I knew that I would protect her kids with my life,
Right.
just not even on the principal grounds of their father, but as a mother. So eventually we got to a point where we were able to at least be cordial with each other. And even on the other side of that,
Mm-hmm.
I always try to stress it's not just I don't want brothers to think, oh, here's another, we hate the daddies and this is
Right. Right.
mama's.
Right.
No, 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 no. I'm a proud daddy's girl. you
All
know,
right. All right.
I grew up in a home where we respected my father as our father. We
Mhm.
knew the chain of, I hate to say chain of command, but you know what I mean, because my
Right. I know
parents
what
were
you mean.
like this.
So like a
But
protocol, of course.
it's a protocol, and the
Right.
fathers are so needed in
Mm.
our
Most definitely.
children's lives. They need
Yes.
their fathers. And I always try to stress to even groups of
Mhm.
younger women I talk to, some sisters that are more in our circle, in this age. And my biggest thing with them is we chose these men.
I
you
hear
know,
you.
so all of a sudden, you can't have a real big issue with them. You knew this man's character. You
Right.
knew who this, and vice versa. So if in the midst of that, suddenly I understand the shift that happens when you become a mother, something changes in you. But it
Right.
also changes in a father.
Right.
And we don't give dads that credit.
Mhm.
So regardless of anything, this is their father.
Right.
They need to see, and if it's a shaky situation,
Mhm.
we gotta work that out together. Because I was in one, and that's the premise of Mama Bear Beautifully Blended.
Right.
It's the kids and the
Mhm.
grown-ups we have to
Right.
be grown-ups.
Well, in the beginning for you, dealing with this whole situation, was your esteem dampered by the fact that you have to deal with random thoughts and things of that nature of saying, well, I might have to deal with the unexpected in a sense?
You know what? I gotta honestly tell you, Tyrone, they weren't,
Okay, that's
because
great. That's
they
beautiful. That's
I
good.
didn't
That's
have to
beautiful.
condition myself
Right,
to
right.
accept their siblings.
Mhm.
Out the gate, these are your siblings. These are
That's
your
right.
sisters,
Yeah.
period.
Right.
Like I said, my second husband, we had the 8 children, but we were all multiple mommy families.
Right, right.
His
Mhm.
tribe that he brought with me,
Right.
they were a multiple mommy family.
Right.
And so out at the end of the day, these are siblings. Even when they met the first time his kids met my kids were the big brothers.
Right, right.
So my kids, boom, that's it. There is no step anything. These are our brothers,
Mhm.
one girl out of all these boys. And she, until my till our second set of
Right.
siblings. And that was their little sister. They lived in California at the time. The others were all in North Carolina.
Right.
But the oldest of my husband's tribe came to visit them. They knew this is our brother. So there was no question. I didn't have to
Right,
figure
right.
it out.
And so, due to the point where, like I said in the beginning for you, it's a very touchy situation where you find relationships to the point where they sink,
Yeah.
and you seem to be one of the lucky ones because usually in situations like that, it can get very messy.
Ooh. Well, now I'm gonna tell you this. I don't
Okay.
want it to. I don't want anybody to think that it was like, oh, it was wonderful and everything. Oh no. During in my second marriage, it had the potential to get messy. I'm I'm not even going to try to say that it didn't, but it was only because I had to realize that I dove in just wanting everybody to be fine, everybody to be happy. I wanted to make sure the moms understood that I wasn't there to overstep their boundaries. I wasn't trying to be the kids' moms. And I was open to having the relationship with them. I had to understand that they may have been on a different page with me.
Right. Hmm.
And I had to say, okay, Julie, fall back. I can't take the same philosophy and the
Right.
same experience from my love daughter's moms to these new mama bears. I was the one now coming in
Hmm.
to their tribe. So I
Right.
had to kind of follow, all while respecting that my husband knew these women better than me.
Right.
You know what I
Exactly. Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I had to respect when he said, "Now, babe, I don't want that energy right now. I know
Right.
where she can go, or I know where this situation can go. It's safer right now for my kids to maybe not be here this weekend because I can." So I had to learn to juggle that, and it was so foreign to me
Right.
because I was like, "No, we this is what we do."
Hmm.
So that it wasn't the moms, it was me who had to understand I can't just insert myself into these
Right.
women's lives
Hmm.
with their children. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
I was merely their dad's wife.
Yeah.
And I had to play that position and respect the role that the parents had.
Right.
But
Right.
it taught me a huge, huge lesson. And I appreciate those moms for giving me that as
Right.
well.
At this point, I mean, as a man, and if I was in that situation, I would have to be the link to the connection of all the
Yes.
branches of
Yep.
dealing with everybody in the situation
Yep.
and have to deal with the baby mothers on an individual note.
Yep.
So, candidly, I would say to them, well, listen, I've moved forward and this is what it is, but I believe that we all should congregate and make sense as a family,
Yes.
at least for the kids' sake. And if they
Yes.
have any personal vendettas, I believe that they should have to work it out or say to them, give time, and see what happens.
Right.
You
No,
know,
you're absolutely right. And that's what I mean by I followed his lead. I didn't this is what I want a lot of my dads to know and my fathers to know in reference to where I come from and the movement I'm trying to have with them is I totally respected the fact that if he said to me, "Nah, we're not going to do that right now." It's I have tried to handle this in a in a certain way and allow me to handle these children, these moms in the way that I know best. And some of the weekends we didn't get the babies. Some of the weekends we would get some and not the others. And
right,
that drove me crazy because I'm like, we all live here. Other than scheduling difficulties, why can't all of the kids all be with you on your weekend?
hmm,
And that's why, we got it to work after I got to tell you, Tyra, it took us a couple years.
I can imagine.
It took, and that's a
Well, that's
good
not going to
thing.
happen overnight because you're
Oh,
dealing with multi-personalities
absolutely,
and mature
absolutely.
levels,
Yes, yes.
you know?
But it was, if I could tell mamas and daddies anything, the first Father's Day that I was able to connect with the moms, all of us were able to work together. I was able to surprise him with all of the babies at once, which hadn't happened in, oh my God, I don't know if it had happened ever, but because everybody was kind of scattered after a few years. And just to see him as a father,
Right,
see, have all of his children together and know that collectively the moms, even if, you know, teeth were gritted and,
well,
whatever,
I could imagine. I could imagine.
but they did it. But they did it. And the kids,
Hmm.
just seeing all the kids together. I mean, everybody under one roof and just living, spending that time as just siblings together, allowing that father to have his space to be a father uninhibited by making sure mom isn't upset, making sure I don't overstep my boundaries because predominantly she is the caretaker or she is the disciplinarian, or or kind of treading lightly because I don't want to be too firm with my kids that I don't see all the time.
Right, right,
It was a lot of levels, and that taught me how to be gracious and understanding of even what dads go through, because they want to be the loving ones. They don't always want to have to be the
right.
one that's the bad cop. They don't
Hmm.
always want to have to be, well, I'm going to call your daddy. Keep
Right.
on. You know what I mean? Dads want to be the ones sometimes that we want to be the ones that are the fun ones and the ones that
Exactly.
take you to
Exactly.
do things. We don't always want to just be the ones that are taking you shopping for school clothes or taking, coming and showing up when something's going wrong.
Right,
Dads want to be the ones that are having those conversations and talking to you and helping with homework and taking you to school, and real fathers.
right, right. Yeah,
And it's sad because it's it's disproportionate to the real fathers who want to do that and the ones who are allowed to do that, and then the other fathers that just kind of have them and it's not really a big deal. And I want to kind of bridge that, so my moms understand that it's not about the relationship that you had with your children's father. It's about building a separate relationship so the two of you can co-parent with. And I don't profess to, I'm a, an expert on it. My son has a multi-mommy family in his own. He's got the two mamas and of my three beautiful grandbabies. So we're still learning. And I
right,
I I even tell my girls, listen, if you two are okay, the kids are okay. If you two indirectly have an issue with even who's my son, you know,
uh-huh.
you two have to handle that separately. I'm not that mom that's,
Yeah,
my son is going to be right 100%. None of us are. The
right.
moms aren't. I wasn't always.
Hmm.
So we're all grabbing it what makes sense
Yeah,
in an individual relationship and a co-parent situation. But at the end of the day, it's the kids.
right,
It's the worst thing. And I have to tell you, Tyrone, it was implanted in here through my mom, because her dad, my grandpa Snaggs, who I just love so much. I hear you, I know you're talking. But she was reared in a multiple mommy family with just my grandpa Snaggs. And
right.
herself and her sisters and one of her brothers, they went and just found the rest of their siblings. And their bottom line was, no, we're brothers and sisters.
Hmm.
And whatever else is going on, this is what we're going to do. We're at least going to know each other.
Right.
And I give my grandmother, my mom's mom, so much credit. God knew that I was going to go through these situations, and that's
Right.
why
Right.
my nana's here, because she was like the catalyst with some of the other moms with my grandpa Snags, and
Hmm.
said, "No, y'all, we don't have no problems with each other. Our problem is with him." you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
And eventually, it wasn't a problem with my grandpa, but it only happened
Hmm.
when he realized these moms were fine with each other, and
Right.
our kids are going to be fine with each other.
Hmm.
And that's the blueprint
Right.
that I've been given. So I was blessed to have that.
So
Hopefully, it helps.
so what really inspired you to actually write the book about this situation? I mean, was it to actually share the experiences of other uh, relationships of that sort?
It was therapeutic on one side, because there were so many things that needed to just truthfully be addressed.
Right.
And but a lot of times, because my sons and I, and even my oldest love daughter,
Hmm.
we've had to live our lives in this huge fishbowl,
Right. Right.
where
Right.
we have tried to keep it as personal as we could. But when we were pulled out of it, and there were things that are just floating around, thanks to the age of social media, it's a bittersweet blessing and curse. At some point, there became, some things needed to be addressed. But I started the book years ago, and I think it was just confirmation for me now. You need to finish it.
Right. Right.
You need to finish it, because your lessons are for a reason. I went through the experiences that I had for a reason. And, we've always been blended. Like I said, my oldest is 35, 32, 21, 16. In my little core, that's aside from my second set of cubs. But it just was the time. But I had to make it was really, really difficult, a lot of times painful, to have to go back and revisit some of the situations that
Hmm.
I went through. And that's when I realized this is why it's taken me this long to get this book finished. But I said, nope, I'm gonna do it. It's going to make a difference. But the pin in it really was when my grandchildren were born, because I saw their moms going through the same type of situations, and just trying to juggle themselves through it. And I'm like, no, this is what we do. We can do this. And we're not the only ones. I've got friends who try, and male and female. So I was like, no, we're going to go on and get this done. And since it's been finished, oh man, the reception, and I'm so grateful that it's been moms and dads and children. Children
Right.
are getting in touch with my son.
Okay. All right.
And both of my boys and my love daughter, and they're like, my mom and dad don't talk. I know I got a brother, and I don't ever get to see him. I know I got a
Hmm.
sister. I've seen her once, and
Right.
we talk on Instagram, but I don't know, they don't want us to talk to each other. So
Right. Right.
my
Right.
kids are kind of helping other siblings that are in this
Well,
kind of
actually, by setting by
situation.
example, in a sense.
Yeah, because
And
they're
that's a very good thing where they can actually communicate with other kids and let them know that, listen, you don't have to be all about that.
right,
And it's good
right.
because setting by example is a good example of what their upbringings are now currently.
Yes,
you know like my grandmother used to say, it starts from the home that takes you abroad.
yes, it does.
Also, the most important factor with dealing, especially in a situation like what you're dealing with, is acceptance.
Right.
you know
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying? So, and there it is. But we're almost out of time, and I wanted to let you
No.
know that I really enjoy talking about the situation with you. And you guys go out there and get this book, get it, read it, apply it, because you never know
Apply
when
it.
things are going to
Yes.
happen, you know, and you just might need these morals and principles to get through.
It's true. It's
And
true.
I'm going to say,
And know that
Julie,
you've got a tribe of us.
right,
We're here. And that's our goal. Myself, my sons, the rest of us that have all become a community together. We want people to know we know it's difficult. I'm not here to say, oh, it's wonderful. And we're all going to skip through the tulips. No,
right,
I know that it's not easy, but I also know that we can do this, and the
right.
kids benefit from it, and we're just here to help and just listen if we need to, and facilitate a partnership. Be a mediator if we can. I'm here for all of them and all of that. I am.
It's been a pleasure, and I mean a pleasure, having you on
Thank
my
you.
show. And come again, come again.
Just tell me. Just tell. Listen. Next time. No, no, Tyrone. Next time I'm gonna be where you are, so we don't have no problem.
That's okay. Well, you know what? It's all right. You know what I mean? Hey, everything is good.
Everything is good.
You know. And y'all guys go out there and get this book, support her, read it, read the fundamentals and the basics of it, and give us some feedback on it. And before we go, Julia, how can
Yeah.
they actually contact you?
They can hit me on all socials. They can hit me on, of course, Facebook. That's Julie McKnight on IG. It's Julie McKnight. They can find me on at Mama Bear Tribe. That's on IG. And I always stress to folks that when they contact me there, when they write me there, when they send me messages, it is not a team of people. It's me.
Right.
I take the time because it's important to me to hear the stories, to help if I can. So if you write me and it takes me a little bit, that's fine. But I honestly want them to know that it's when they hit me, they're talking to me,
Okay.
and that's what I'm here for.
Okay.
So
So
come on
thank you
and
so
talk to
much,
me.
Julia. And like I say, come again. Thank you. You guys go out there, get this
Thank
book,
you.
and support her on it. And this has been another T-Lo video production. And you guys stay tuned for another episode.
It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.